I was at a spot in my life where I was working pretty hard. I was probably putting in about 55 to 60 hours a week. And I would come home completely drained, basically nothing to give. And I would seek from Amber, basically, hey, I need you to make me feel better. And I didn't realize it at that time, but I wasn't bringing anything to the table for her.
In 2017, on Christmas Day, we lost my brother, and that's whenever I started to crumble. It was a very, very traumatic experience for me, a difficult time in my life, and he would come home from work and be like, "What's wrong with you? What's going on with you?" And I just kind of expected him to understand that I'm going through something horrible. I didn't feel like doing the laundry today. I didn't even think about what to make for dinner tonight. It just kind of came to a head where I couldn't make things work anymore. I don't believe in divorce. Adam doesn't either. And so we knew that we weren't going to not be together. We just didn't know how to be together. If he's not happy with me anymore, I can't put any more energy into caring. And that's when he started looking for resources.
I felt the distance, I felt the shut off, or to me, it felt like shut off or withdrawal. Felt like she wasn't trying anymore. And I was doing the same things, I just didn't appreciate it at the time. The energy in the home felt like a battlefield. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a battlefield in the home, but it felt like, between the tension with the kids and the tension between us and just all of it, felt like a battlefield. I was desperate for answers at that time, and I was praying nightly, God, please give me a solution. Please give me a solution, lead me to something. And found TPM on Facebook, and I would never have chosen anything off of Facebook, but I started listening to the podcast and kind of got drawn into, I was like, some of this makes a lot of sense.
He would come back to me and after listening to a podcast, and he'd say, "Do you think that's what's going on here? I feel like I've heard you maybe say this exact same thing at some point in history." And honestly, I was so glad that he was hearing it from somewhere. I didn't care where he was hearing it. It was spot on. It was, yes, this is what I've been trying to communicate to you for years, and you're hearing it, yay.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest difference, even in your podcast, as I was picking up, is a lot of it is, look, you have to lead, I have to change. There's stuff that I needed to do first, and that was some of the biggest, starting spots for me. Instead of trying to find all my solutions in Amber at that point, because that wasn't working, and so it was a big change in paths for me.
When he's talking about some of these changes that he's trying to make, I didn't believe it. I was to the point where I'm going to need to see it for a while before I believe anything. And when he started doing some of these things in the program, instead of always bugging me about doing something to fix something or doing something for him, he quit tapping. And I noticed, even though my back was turned, I noticed something's a little different. And it made me want to, what's going on over there? And so I started watching, and I could see him making changes. And over time, the consistency of him doing these things and following through with what he said, showing that he was going to do what he said he was going to do, was becoming more and more convincing to me, to where I eventually turned all the way back around, I guess. So
I always thought that she was withdrawing from the difficult situations or from the relationship or not connecting, but I realized that I wasn't willing to be there emotionally present. Even if I was physically there, I wasn't emotionally present. And so learning to stay there and hear the hard things she had to say and to work through it and have a hard conversation. And I started recognizing that I was running from it, and to learn to sit through them and work through them and be present with her definitely helped us have better communication.
Yeah. One thing that Adam and I have talked about is making sure that there are changes that last. And that goes for me as well, for the both of us. And something that we've talked about is a first order change versus a second order change. And in a first order change, you have changes that last a minute, and they look pretty on the outside, but they don't last. And when we were talking about it, the example I'd given him was, let's say that you have a wall with a lot of paint on it, and the paint is peeling, and you can start seeing the old colors from underneath show, and you want to fix the wall, so you get a new bucket of paint, and you lather on a new coat of paint on top of the old coats of paint, and it looks really nice for a little bit, and then those old colors and those chippy pieces start chipping back off again, and you can see the real colors underneath. Whereas a second order change, it's long lasting. You get to the root of it and you fix it, and then you keep doing all of the hard work that it takes to last. And the example for that would be, instead of just putting a new layer of paint over this old wall, you get your hands dirty. You pull up your sleeves and you get whatever tools you need, and you just start scraping that paint off the wall, and you scrape it all the way down until you're at your bare wall, and then your wall is clean, and then you can put a new clean coat of paint on it, and not only does it look nice, but it's going to last, and it's not going to start peeling right after you paint it and show these ugly colors underneath. It's going to be a lasting change, and that's what I want to see in the future of our relationship, is these lasting changes that aren't just pretty on the outside, but that to their core and to their foundation are healthy and nice for our kids' sake as much as our own.
If I can take anything away from this and teach my boys, is men have to lead to have a good relationship. Especially if you're leading in a healthy direction, the women will follow.
Adam has always been a leader. He's always been a natural born leader, but he has learned how to lead with love. It's been life-changing for us. Like Adam said earlier, we've thanked God more times than we can count for bringing this into our lives, for bringing you guys into our lives, for the differences that it's made in our relationship. We're forever grateful.